Mercury, the god of winged feet and agile mind, personifies vibrant energy and cleverness in Roman mythology. He is the messenger of the gods, patron of travelers, merchants, and thieves. With his magical caduceus and enigmatic smile, Mercury slips between the divine and human worlds, fostering communication, exchanges, and even trickery. The origins of Mercury go back to ancient times, intertwined with pre-Roman deities and diverse cultural influences. His name, Mercurius in Latin, derives from the word for merchandise, indicating his strong association with trade and exchange. This etymological root reveals one of the god's main characteristics: his connection with the economic sphere and his protection of merchants and travelers. Mercury is the Roman counterpart of the Greek god Hermes, the messenger of the gods and god of trade, eloquence, and cunning. Hermes, with his caduceus and winged sandals, served as the model for the representation of Mercury in Roman art and literature. The fusion of these cultural influences resulted in a unique god who incorporated elements from different traditions and adapted to the needs and beliefs of Roman society. The figure of Mercury, therefore, is not a mere product of Roman culture, but the result of a process of syncretism and the adaptation of elements from different origins. This blend of cultural influences contributed to the richness and complexity of the god, who became one of the most popular and venerated deities of the Roman Pantheon. In the Roman Pantheon, Mercury occupied a singular position. Son of Jupiter, the supreme god, and the nymph Maia, the personification of spring, he was a second-generation god, but with an importance and influence that transcended his hierarchical position. His versatility and cunning made him an intermediary between the divine and human worlds, a messenger who moved between Olympus and the earth, carrying messages. His relationship with Jupiter was marked by respect and obedience, but also by a certain freedom and irreverence. Mercury was Jupiter's confidant and advisor, often entrusted with delicate missions that required his diplomatic skill and power of persuasion. However, his mischievous nature and his tendency toward trickery led him to challenge rules and test the limits of paternal authority. Mercury also maintained relationships with other gods and goddesses of the Roman Pantheon. He was a friend of Apollo, the god of music and poetry, with whom he shared a love of the arts and of beauty. He was also close to Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, with whom he shared a passion for seduction and the pleasures of life. He was also the protector of travelers, merchants, and thieves, guiding them on their journeys and shielding them from the dangers along the way. His cunning and skill in communication made him a talented negotiator, capable of resolving conflicts and establishing agreements between gods and mortals. Mercury was also the god of eloquence. He was invoked by orators, poets, and writers who sought his inspiration and his gift of speech. Mercury's ability to move between the world of the living and the dead granted him a unique role as a psychopomp, the guide of souls to the underworld. With his caduceus, he led the newly dead across the river Styx, the boundary between the world of the living and the realm of Pluto, the god of the underworld. His reassuring presence and his eloquence calmed souls on their final journey, ensuring a safe passage to the beyond. This role as psychopomp also gave Mercury the power to mediate communication between the living and the dead. In rituals and necromantic practices, the god was invoked to establish contact with the spirits of the deceased, carrying messages and requests from the living and bringing answers and counsel from the other side. This ability to communicate with the world of the dead gave Mercury a power and a mystery that made him a central figure in various Roman cults and religious practices. The figure of the god as guide and intermediary offered comfort and hope to the living, assuring them that death was not the end, but rather a passage to another world, where communication and connection with loved ones were still possible. The cult of Mercury was widespread throughout the Roman Empire, with temples and shrines dedicated to the god in many cities. In Rome, the main temple of Mercury was located on the Aventine Hill, one of the city's 7 sacred hills. Built in the 5th century BCE, the temple was an important religious and commercial center where merchants and travelers sought the god's protection. Mercury was also venerated in small shrines and household altars, where families asked for his protection and blessings for their businesses and journeys. Typical offerings to Mercury included fruits, flowers, incense, wine, and sacrificial animals such as roosters and young goats. The most important festival in honor of Mercury was the Mercuralia, celebrated on May 15th. During the festival, merchants performed purification rituals and made offerings to the god, asking for his protection and prosperity for their businesses. The festivities included processions, games, athletic competitions, and banquets, celebrating the joy and vitality of the god. The influence of Mercury went beyond mythology and extended into astronomy and astrology, where the planet that bears his name is associated with traits that reflect the nature of the Roman god. Mercury, the planet closest to the Sun, is known for its rapid orbit and swift movement, just like the messenger god who moves quickly between Olympus and the Earth. In astrology, Mercury rules communication, intellect, learning, and adaptability. He influences the way we think, express ourselves, and interact with the world around us. The astrological characteristics of Mercury reflect the nature of the god, his intelligence, curiosity, and gift for communication. Mercury rules the signs of Gemini and Virgo, which share traits such as intelligence, curiosity, and communication skills. However, each sign expresses Mercury's energy in a different way. In alchemical tradition, Mercury transcended his mythological role to become a fundamental symbol of transformation and the quest for perfection. Both the god and the planet Mercury were associated with the volatile element, duality, and the capacity for adaptation, representing the mutable essence of matter and the possibility of transmuting metals into gold. Mercury, the chemical element of liquid, silvery nature, was seen by alchemists as a vital principle, a spirit that permeated matter and made its transformation possible. Just as the god Mercury moved between the world of gods and men, alchemical Mercury was capable of uniting body and spirit, the material and the immaterial, the visible and the invisible. Mercury, the god of eloquence and communication, was also considered a patron of the arts, inspiring musicians, poets, dancers, and other artists in their search for creative expression. His agile and versatile nature was reflected in the fluidity of music, the beauty of poetry, and the grace of dance, making him an inspiring figure for those who sought to express their emotions and ideas through art. Music, with its ability to evoke feelings and connect people, was considered a gift from Mercury. The god was often depicted with a lyre, a string instrument associated with harmony and beauty. Musicians and poets called on Mercury's help to find the right words and melodies to express their emotions and ideas, seeking his inspiration to create works that touched the hearts and minds of their audiences. Poetry, with its rich and imaginative language, was also considered an art form blessed by Mercury. The god of eloquence was invoked by poets who sought his help to create verses that would inspire and uplift the human spirit. Dance, with its bodily expression and movement, was another art form associated with Mercury. The god, with his winged feet and agile nature, was seen as a model of grace and fluidity. Dancers and choreographers sought Mercury's inspiration to create harmonious and expressive movements that conveyed emotions and ideas through the language of the body. The god transcended his role in Roman mythology to become a timeless symbol of communication, trade, cunning, and transformation. His influence extended over many areas of Roman life, from religion and the economy to art and magic, shaping the culture and society of the time. His legacy endures to this day, present in astrology, alchemy, and popular culture, where his figure continues to inspire and fascinate.